What's going on, guys? So we have the Truxus e-mountain bike back in front of us with a really cool attachment right there. We're going to talk about this and why that to me is a pretty phenomenal invention. Hang tight, I'll be right back. All right, so not a sponsored video. I purchased this on Amazon. You guys who have been watching my channel and know my biking content probably have seen some of my e-bikes that have front seats on them, right? Like that, because I have small children and I like to be able to take them out on the bike. And the challenge that I run into is I don't want to put them on the back because if they let go or something happens or if I wreck, they're in a very vulnerable position. But if I put them up front, I have the ability to grab them and kind of shield them in the event of some type of a crash or a wreck or something like that. And my youngest daughter's favorite pastime is asking me to take her out on the e-bike. And I haven't really been able to do a lot of that on my other e-bikes except electric because that seat kind of works. But she's getting a little too heavy for it and I needed something that was a little bit better, especially because I want to use it on this mountain bike. Now this is the Kids Ride Shotgun Pro seat for mountain bikes. And as you can see by the picture here, this is actually a pretty high-end mountain bike. This isn't the typical kind of bike that you might put a seat like this on. And I needed to be sure that whatever I got was going to be the best quality. Now, the seats I've purchased in the past have ranged from about $60 to about $150. This one's like $300. So it's absolutely going to be a very, very expensive purchase for those of you who are interested in something like this. But I felt, though, after looking at just about every conceivable seat that was available, this one is probably the best quality and the best designed, mainly because it can support up to 60 pounds. So that's going to be a big limiting factor on a lot of the other ones that can only support like 40 pounds. And even then, they kind of look like they're going to fail. And the seats that I've had in the past, even the ones by Shotgun, for smaller kids, they hold up just fine. But if you have any children that are heavier than like 40 pounds, it's definitely not something you'd want to use on those. And you got to look at the markings on the box to make sure you're even using those correctly. This one right here, which is really cool, it's actually suitable for both regular and electric bikes. So the process of putting this on is different than any other seat like this that I've installed. Not the back process. Clamping to the seat post here is not that difficult. Basically, I pulled the seat tube up a little bit. This is a adjustable seat, or a dropper post is what they call them. I made enough room so I could clamp the back onto it. They have hinges here in the back and the front. But this right here has to actually slide over the tube of your fork. So you have to remove the stem and a spacer and put this in place. And then once this is in place, it pivots inside of there. So there's a slot in there and you don't lose any type of steering capability. It's really cool. It's very, very innovative. This entire setup right here, you can tell a lot of engineering and thought went into it. Even the ability to adjust the seat angle. You have a quick release on this side. You have one on the other side. You can adjust the seat angle. And then you also have one here on the back that if you lift up, you can adjust the legs so they can go further down or up. And these legs are also adjustable in terms of length. So if you have children with shorter legs, you can have it up. And as they grow and get taller, you can have them in their lower position. This is really cool. My daughter's at school right now, so I haven't had a chance to actually test it with her. But I can tell you, after comparing this to everything else that I've tried to do to get this to work, this is by far the best. It fit the best. It kind of works the best. I've used, again, other types of seats. Let me show you another one. I happen to have my other electric bike out here. So I have this one on this bike, and it works okay. The problem is my daughter's legs are too long for these right here. Also, you can see how this back clamp isn't flat around the actual seat tube. It's kind of at an angle, and they gave you no ability to adjust it right there. This right here has worked okay, but I still feel a little nervous when I take my daughter out on it. It was about $70, which is not inexpensive for something like this, but it's definitely inexpensive compared to the Shotgun one that I just put on the other bike. One of the reasons why I'm super interested in using it specifically on this bike is because this has dual suspension, and it's going to be a softer, more plush ride whenever I have my daughter out with me. The seat itself feels pretty comfy. I mean, it feels like she'll probably enjoy that. She sits right in front of me, so again, if there's any really bad scenario where for some reason I have to drop the bike or something happens, I can simply kind of hug her and shield her, hopefully, from any severe injuries. Of course, we wear helmets when we ride, But at the same time, you know, the last thing you want to do is get something like this, which is intended for recreation and fun, and then end up, you know, injuring the person that's in front of you. But very, very cool. It actually looks pretty nice too. It doesn't look super ugly or anything on the bike. And I think this is going to accomplish exactly what we want to use it for. I love the fact that right here, the rods that hold the legs, they're spaced out significantly more than any of the other ones I've seen, which is really nice if you're going to use it on an e-bike, because this front section right here is usually super fat to be able to support the battery. And now I actually have, you know, the clearance I need to put it on each side. I put these little neoprene rubber pads here because the little ends here, this rubber material doesn't go all the way down. I do wish it extended all the way down somehow, or at least they put rubber caps here at the bottom, because when they slide up against the frame, they scratch it, which I'm not too concerned about, but the neoprene should help reduce that or eliminate that, hopefully. I'll let you guys know, but what do you guys think? This is super cool, and again, if you're a parent and you take your child riding with you, and you want to be able to ride a little bit further to where, you know, if they're just following you on their bike, they're not going to be able to. This is a really cool setup, and I'm looking forward to using it. I know my daughter is, because the minute she sees it, she's going to be asking me to go on an e-bike ride. But what do you guys think? Again, not sponsored content. I have not tested it yet with my daughter. I think she'll love it, considering, you know, how she works with any of the other systems that I've used, because she really likes to ride on the e-bike with her dad. Anyways, guys, I'll put a link in the description if this is something you're interested in. I can't fully recommend or endorse this thing as something that I like, other than the engineering and the adjustability. Oh yeah, this also lets you adjust the ability to slide it up and down here as well. So it usually sets right around here. I just dropped it back a little further. But everything can be tightened after that as well. So you can set it somewhere, clamp it, and tighten it, which is nice. Okay, so jump to the following day, and I have used this now with my daughter riding it, and it is really, really cool. Now, she sits up significantly higher on this bike because of this than any of the other bikes I've used with a front seat. And that's kind of an interesting position to be in, because instead of me kind of looking over her head, I'm not kind of looking kind of over, but more to the side. So I can literally put my head beside hers, which is not ideal because it can kind of block your view a bit. But if you have a smaller child, like a 4 or 5 year old, it probably would be a little bit more convenient. You could see right over them. I did not have the seat all the way up like this. It was down to where you just saw it. The reason for that is because if I need to get off of the bike in a hurry, or if I need to stop and put a foot down, I need to be able to reach the ground. So even though this is how I have it set up when I'm riding it by myself, if I'm going to be doing anything with it, I do sit it down a little bit lower so I can drop my foot to the ground in case I need to put a foot down to stabilize the bike because my daughter's on it. Plus, to get her off of it, I also want a foot touching the ground. What I do whenever she's getting on or off, I just move this pedal up like that, and she just steps on that pedal, puts a foot over, and gets on. This thing is really nice. It feels very, very solid, very well made, and I can honestly tell you, I recommend it. I like it. It works real well. My daughter absolutely loves it. She says the seat is super comfortable, which is definitely important, especially if you're going over bumps. You don't want this thing beating up your child's bum. And yeah, this thing is very, very, very nice, and finally somebody has made a product that I truly, truly like, that I can use on a higher end bike and have my daughter sit in front of me where I can protect her and shield her in the event that we fall. But again, very cool item. I will throw a link in the video description if this is something you may be interested in. It is kind of pricey, so just keep that in mind. Again, this wasn't provided to me. I bought this off of Amazon. I found two different links to it on Amazon. One of them was about $30 more, even though it was the exact same thing. So definitely shop around and look to see who the lower seller is on Amazon if you're going to buy it from them. That said, though, pretty dang proud of it. It is pretty awesome, and I can't really think of any great improvement. Well, yes, I can. It would be nice if where this attaches right here, you have the little screw that holds it into place, if you have the ability to rotate these out slightly, because you can see how it is making contact to the side of the front portion of the bike, and I wish I could have those move out slightly. Also, if they could rubber coat all of this down here, or at least put a sleeve that comes with it in case it does make contact with your bike. You don't want to scratch your bike up, and the place that I had it originally, you can actually see it was scratching the side of the bike up pretty bad. And that's something that I definitely would want to avoid. Anyways, guys, leave a comment below. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Is this something you may want to get so you can have your child ride with you as well? I know some people are going to say just have them follow you, but if you're going fast or if you're going, 10, 15, 20 miles an hour, they're not going to be able to keep up with you. And this is just a way for the whole family to go out and kind of enjoy time together, as opposed to, just having to ride super, super slow. Anyways, guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.